Appreciate y'all being here this afternoon. Yeah, obviously Saturday was a really tough game for everybody, offense, defense, special teams. One we couldn't wait to put to bed and move forward, and then I had to come to a press conference on Monday and talk about it. But I thought hats off to Central Missouri and their staff. Offensively, I thought they did a really nice job of neutralizing what is probably the focal point or the strength of our defense, which is our D-line. A lot of the lateral screens and perimeter plays that they were running really just got us running sideline to sideline and kind of took the D-line out of it. In terms of their defense, they did a good job of controlling the line of scrimmage and really trying to put a lot of pressure on our run game, which then in turns puts a lot of pressure on our pass game. And so I thought offensively we could just never truly get into a rhythm. And so it became tough to manufacture points, and then once momentum kind of hit, we kind of fell behind. I think that's probably the worst 6 minutes of football I've ever been a part of in the second quarter, just in terms, again, of offense, defense, and special teams. And so, the thing that I'm proud of or not happy about, but our guys, the resolve to get better is still there. I don't think it was a situation where guys were saying, dang, defense, get some stops, or there was no finger pointing. I think everybody, similar to the week before, really looked within of how can I be better, what can I do to improve this football team, and that's our mindset moving forward. Fort Hays is a MIAA team. I mean, Coach Brown's been in the MIAA for the last almost 25 years at Pitt, at Washburn, and now at Fort Hays, and so he knows what they're supposed to look like, and he's done a nice job building a roster inside out. He's always had strong O-line and D-line play. This team is no different. They're really strong on the inside, and so the challenge will be defensively, doing a good job in squeezing the run lanes and making them one-dimensional. Offensively, again, the challenge will be being able to block a big front. They got 2 D tackles that are both 300 pounds and over 300 pounds, so we got our work cut out. But similar to every other team in the MIAA, I don't see a cape. I don't see a super team. I just see a really, really good football team. And so we'll have our opportunities on Saturday, and we got to make sure we capitalize on them.
Coach, on back-to-back weeks, we saw a similar defense. The Northwest Missouri defense, the Central Missouri defense, the architect was the same guy.
Yeah.
And so did that expose some things when we saw it week 2 that maybe they saw in week 1 from the film that made it easier for them to defend us?
Yeah, I don't know. I think definitely there was some carryover from what we saw 2 weeks ago to last week. And so my guess is those two talked to each other on the phone and said, hey, here are some things that really worked well. Here are some things we didn't like. I think it kind of boils down to, again, they were successful in controlling the line of scrimmage, and you can piece together a lot of offense or defense, but when you're losing the line of scrimmage, it makes it tough.
Second half, we pulled Martin, brought in Donahue. What's the thought process there?
Yeah, it's hard. Quarterback's such a position that you only play one, and so as we develop Tillman, he needs as many reps as possible, but at the same time, Chris was in the heat for the number 1 spot. So it was good to see what he could do with live bullets and see what he could do, because it's hard to simulate that in a practice, the hits, because quarterbacks wear black jerseys, they don't get hit. And so it's an added dimension to the quarterback's mentality when, he's got a jersey on and he's fair game just like everybody else. So it was more so an opportunity to see what Chris could do with live bullets.
Offense, have we seen an offense like we're going to see from Hays this week?
Yeah, they're a little more traditional, meaning the tight end's closer to the formation. The splits of the receivers are not all the way out by the numbers. What we saw from last week at Central Missouri was pretty abnormal, and they do it for a reason. It's a tough scheme to defend, but Fort Hays will be more traditional and just probably run the ball a little bit more.
defense-wise, what kind of front are we going to see from them?
Four-man front, like I said, they're big. The two guys on the inside are both 6'3" plus and 310 pounds plus. So we'll have our work cut out, kind of trying to move them a little bit and try to move them laterally and try to wear them down a little bit.
Are they athletic, or are they just guys who are big and are going to plug holes?
No, they're athletic. I mean, they can run. You know, as I was telling somebody in an interview earlier, we're real familiar with their game because we recruited them here. So we know that they're good players, but we got good players too, and we just got to execute our fundamentals. We got to focus on when we get a double team to truly double them. When we get some single blocks, we got to win those single blocks, and we're going to lose some of them, but we got to win the majority of them.
So, do you go to your team and tell them to flush what happened last week, take from it what you need to personally, and burn the film, or do you? How do you process that part?
Yeah, you know, I think, and I hope our guys would tell you this, is even after a win, we process it, we learn from it, but then we burn it. You know, again, this is, football's so unique in that you can't hang on the laurels from the previous week. You can't sit there and say, you know, we did this last week, so this is what's going to happen the next week. The other part of it is, and I always tell people this, when you enter the MIAA, records in previous weeks don't matter. You know, you're seeing it all over the league that the scores are just all over the place. And so, yeah, you got to flush it. You got to move forward. It's easier to flush wins. Those don't stick with you as long. But you definitely got to flush it because you don't want to lose twice.
I know teams match up against each other differently, but on paper, this will be the toughest test of the season for you guys so far. But are you just approaching it like any other game?
Yeah, I guess I'd ask you to elaborate a little bit, like how so in terms of the matchup. You saying like from a personnel standpoint or like a?
Well, I just meant like this team is a ranked team. On paper, they're one of the best teams you played this season so far.
And so I'll kind of point out, like last week, again, we're not going to talk about too much. About 2 weeks ago, we played the crap out of Northwest Missouri on this field. Lost 21-14, could have been 17-21 in our favor. And they go play a ranked team in UCO and they beat them by 4 scores. So it's just so freaking hard. You know what I mean? And I think rankings are important. I think rankings are earned. Rankings obviously come from somewhere. They come from beating really good football teams. But I also know that hey, earmuffs. You're dealing with 18 to 23-year-old men. And there's highs with that. There's lows with that. So yeah, I don't look at the record. I don't look at the rankings. Because again, as we go through it, there's not a bad football team. You're not going to sit there and go, okay, this team can't play, or this team is really good. Because I think what that does is it sets you up for a letdown. And so we know we have to play well regardless of the record, regardless of the ranking.
You know, even though it's a tough loss, do you kind of view every game as valuable experience, valuable for this team right here to just play and go through and get ready for the next week?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you have to do. And unfortunately, through the losses, you can see the gray hairs. I have all the experience I need. I need some experience for wins now. But no, it definitely is tough. But in a win and a loss, there's something you can learn from it. There's something you can use moving forward. I think, again, I think that Central Missouri environment was probably one of the most hostile environments we've played in up to date. If you saw the game on the stream or you were at the game, and they had all the fanfare that stinking band played from start to finish. But yeah, so I think maybe that might be the thing we'll take from there. Is just how to handle those environments a little bit better.
Cool. Thank you so much, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Hello, I'm Riley Hammons. I'm from Silver Springs, Texas. I'm a junior. My major is business management, and I'm a middle linebacker. Any questions?
Talk about your room, that middle linebacker room, a lot of experience in that room, a lot of senior leadership. Talk about how important it is to have those guys there.
Yeah, so I got Zach Bergman in there, I got Colton Bass, got 2 dogs in there with me, and they're not just good on the field, like they're very smart, and it's great to have people to like lean on, if I have questions, if I don't know what I'm doing, I know who to call. I can call Colton Bass or I can call Zach, and they're gonna get me right, So it's pretty great to have those guys in there.
Talk about not having Colton there on Saturday and how how you overcome that, not having that experience there with you.
Yeah, for sure. So that was definitely tough. That hurt us a lot, and we all knew that somebody's going to have to step up, and even though he wasn't playing, he was still contributing. This week I had to play Mike and Will, and I was calling him. He was coming over to my house. He was telling me how to do plays, and just like little things like that just shows big character,
Defensively, you guys have started games pretty well, not a lot of points allowed in the first quarter. What do you think is going well at the beginning of games?
Yeah, I think when we just come out there, we're playing fast. We're not hesitating, and we're looking through our keys and we're making plays, And I don't know. I feel like we just got to just come together as a team and just figure it out, But we know we can do it. We've done it 3 weeks in a row, So.
On defense, it was kind of hard to keep up with their high-octane offense. What about their offense was hard to slow them down?
Yeah, so they're a spread offense. They got, you don't think they can do much in the offense, but they can just throw it out. They count numbers, they count in the box, and whenever you just got to make plays when the plays are there to be made. We're missing tackles and they're getting extra 5-6 yards, and that adds up. If you do that over and over again, we just came out flat. We just gotta come better next time.
And as an upperclassman, what were you kind of telling the guys on the sideline to keep, attitudes and effort high? Yeah,
more of just keeping the energy high. It's not like, oh, come on now. It's, hey, let's get hyped. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to do that when you're getting your butt whooped, but we know we're getting better for the next week. So even though we're down at the time, it's always something to look forward to get better at.
And then Fort Hays State also had a high-scoring game last time you guys played them. What's kind of the game plan on defense going in to kind of shut them down more?
Yeah, so this week, we're gonna shut them down. That's our job. So we're gonna try to do that. And I think just during the week this week, we just gotta fix what we messed up in the previous weeks, and I think we're gonna be fine. We'll be okay.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
How y'all doing? I'm Ayden Robinson-Wayne. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I play wide receiver, and my major is sports recreational management.
Talk about your room and about what the guys in your room, how they took this loss and are going to apply it moving forward.
The receiver room, we really felt this loss. We kind of felt like, we didn't do our job. We didn't make the plays like we were supposed to. And it was kind of a humbling experience, so we're going to go back to work and get better at our craft so we can, do our thing the next game.
Real off-topic question, but one that's very important. What's better, St. Louis barbecue or Kansas City barbecue?
St. Louis barbecue.
On the first drive, you had that really nice play, catch, break a few tackles, get face mask still, get a few extra yards. What does that kind of do for your day, for your game, when you have a really nice play on the very first drive?
I think it brings energy to the whole team, to the game in general. That's something that I kind of visualized before the game and during the week, just making plays like that. So it was normal for me, but it brings energy for our guys.
What do you feel like, as part of the passing game, what do you feel like you guys need to do better going forward to just make sure the passing game can stay consistent, not as hot and cold, but just continuous drives?
I think we need to just finish. I think that's our problem as an offense as a whole right now. We're not finishing. We're putting together a lot of good drives, explosive plays. We're just not putting the ball in the end zone.
As a leader, I think turnovers were kind of a big issue in last matchup's game. As a senior, like how were you kind of making sure everyone was locked in and hoping to like keep possession with the ball?
I'm a junior,
Oh, sorry.
but it was just, you know, the mentality to keep on, you know, chopping wood. You know, we couldn't really control how the game was going. All we can control is our effort in the moment.